What's up, everyone? So I'm hoping to save some of you guys some headache. I had some headache on my car, so what we're going to talk about today is on your vintage Mustang with a V8 289 in my case and a 4-speed top loader in my case, 3 speeds, and I think 3 speeds will be the same relative info. I think they use the same bell housing, and the V6 car, or the straight six cars, sorry, probably do not. So you might be not in the right place for a six banger. The issue I ran into is I bought a bunch of stuff from a guy here in town and to do my top loader swap. And this, I mean, it was 2 years ago. This project spiraled out of control pretty badly. Lots of setbacks, gave up, got frustrated, tried paying someone to finish it for me because I was so done. And now I'm back having to figure it out myself. So this kind of thing can be tough if you've never done it before. And there's not a lot of info to be had, at least not easily, on these old cars. You can find a lot of irrelevant stuff, but not the stuff that's kind of nitty gritty like this. So what happened to me, I bought a top loader with a shifter, a bell housing, it had a clutch fork. Hopefully that's right. This is not a clutch fork video. You got to do your own digging for that one. I just think mine will work. It looks, it's all bolted together. It looks like it'll work. It's going to throw the throw bearing all the way up. So I got a bell housing, a flywheel, also shifter, and a fork, and I had to put that together, which on these cars is a real pain in the ass to put the fork on. That took all night. I'm trying to think if I bought anything else from the guy. I was going to reuse my 10-inch clutch I had from our previous transmission. So, struggle, have issues with headers because the bell housing's bigger, which we'll get to. And then had issue with clutch linkage. So a couple sets of headers later, I now have some headers for sale, and I had to make my own clutch linkage, which when everything's together, I'll kind of show it off and walk you through it and do all that stuff, because apparently it's not that uncommon. And I think the solution is pretty straightforward. So what I ran into when I went to test fire the car finally, starter just goes zing, and motor no crank. So thought, okay, maybe I have the wrong starter. So I started digging on AutoZone's website because they give you some decent info, apparently, at least as far as number of teeth and stuff and fitment and all that stuff. Check the part number I have, and then, okay, it says it's for a manual. And I look it up, and some people on forums are saying that part shops normally have it backwards. You need to go ask for the auto one. So I went and bought an auto one and tried putting it on, and it's longer. It doesn't seat right. The snout on it's longer, and I have a picture I'll show you guys here some point soon here. Tried it anyway, because I mean it should grab it somewhere. Zing, no starter. It's not grabbing flywheel. So posted on a Facebook group. One guy suggested dremeling the block plate to put the starter closer to the flywheel, which yeah, that works. But it was more than just the wrong spacer plate in the block and transmission. It was the whole bell housing and the spacer were right for each other, but not right for my flywheel. And so after research, I'm going to try and share all this in one spot for you guys. I have a bell housing and spacer plate for a 164 tooth flywheel. I can't remember in the autos what tooth kind of flex plates had. I think there was only one. I have one for sale in my shed if you're interested. But the top loaders and the 4-speeds in general came with either 164s or 157 tooth. And I thought, okay, it can't be that far off. What is that? 7 teeth. If I can find the picture, I'll give credit and insert it somewhere in here. But someone did a real measurement in a forum, and it's a crazy number how far it's off. It's like ½ an inch, if I remember correctly. But so yeah, I had to take it all the way apart again. And then the question is now, do I change flywheels, or do I change bell housings, or what do I do? And I've kind of modified my fork to work with my linkage setup I made here, because a stock set is kind of held together with spring pressure. it could fall apart on the highway, and especially with what I'm trying to do, some track days and stuff, you know, curbs get jumped, and, you know, I don't want the clutch coming apart in the middle of a track session, man. So mine's a little more solid. So the modifications were done, and I'm like, shit, I don't want to do them again. It was a pain in the ass to drill through that stuff. That steel's pretty hard on that clutch fork, let me tell you. So I opted to go with another 164 tooth flywheel. And I knew everything fits because I had the headers on already and all that, so there's less headache there. I just know it works. I just kind of want to be done. Just give me the flywheel. So I've got one on order as of this time. Should be here Friday. Today's Tuesday. And, you know, kind of do an unboxing and kind of see if my 10-inch clutch will fit. Some of the reviews said it would. The ad said it was going to fit either 10.5 or 11-inch clutch. Which, to my next point, you could become limited on your clutch options, and you need to make sure you match your clutch and really read and ask questions. If you're ordering from Summit, they're probably good because you can call and ask them. But you need to make sure your clutch will fit also. I don't think my 10-inch clutch is going to fit. I think I'm going to end up buying a 10.5, maybe an 11. We'll see what the options look like. It's a bummer. I'm going to end up with the same clutch, just new and a half-inch bigger. I don't make near enough horsepower to need it. It's just all about the bolt pattern. So with that being said, I think I'm going to use the manual starter because it fits the bell housing. We've already been through that. That game doesn't need to be played again, which factored into staying with this flywheel. I'll show you that picture here in a second. Well, let's do it right now. I'll insert it here if I can figure out how to edit. And that's the difference in snout length on the manual to an auto starter. I think the bolt circle may be different. I'll have to look. I'll try to put like a little text thing in here. My editing skills aren't there yet. Letting you know if there's a bolt like spacing difference as far as how they're rotated 180 versus, you know, something like this. You can get both bolts in, but it might orient the starter different. And I'm going to read you, this is on Vintage Mustang forum. This is, I don't have the guy's name here. Let me see, I have my laptop holding my phone up. 65 Fast is the guy's name who answered this. This is from back in 2009, so I doubt he's ever going to see this. But look, this is after Googling my bell housing casting number, which is 65AA-6394-B. And the answer is 65AA prefixes are for 164 tooth, 65DA, as in David, Adam, are for 157 tooth. So if you've got some parts sitting here, maybe save yourself some headache and run the numbers before putting stuff together. You know, again, I didn't know better. The guy does it for a living. I assumed he wouldn't have screwed me, but after a while I started to suspect he screwed me. It's just a matter of how bad. So with that, you just got to make sure those match. Some guys, yeah, say you got to run the autos starters with the manual trans. I didn't find that to be at all the case. I have no idea what they're doing. There is, I don't know what you want to call it, in a thread somewhere, a tech article. I'll try and find it and post it here and put a link and all that good stuff. But showing how, like, where your teeth are in your flywheel depending on what starter you need. That seems like it's stretching, but it's also well written, so I kind of believe it might be true. You know, it's not like it's more well put together than this video, so it could be true. I'll try and find it and link it all in here, and, you know, use some of the pictures and give credit and all that good stuff. But it's something to watch out for. So if you're doing a swap for the first time from an auto to a manual, it is something to watch out for. And if you're doing it, if for whatever reason you're doing a manual to an auto swap, God forbid, maybe still run the numbers and maybe test fit the spacer plate. I think I had that happen once where the spacer plate was wrong with an auto, and that pissed me off because you got to take, you know, to get the spacer plate, you got to take everything back off. Transmission, bell housing, shifter, all that good stuff. On the auto, it's extra frustrating because now you got to sit into the car and try to spin a flex plate and get all the converter nuts off and work that thing off by itself. And then you take the flex plate off, and then you can pull the spacer plate. So having the wrong spacer plate is extra frustrating. Like, if that's what pisses you off, it's the cheapest thing in this, and it takes the most work to change it. So it costs less than the starter. So with that being said, just watch out for what you're buying. Now I've got my car sitting here waiting on a flywheel. I'm gonna try a Fidanza aluminum 164 tooth because it's an autocross car. I want to try a lighter flywheel. It's kind of my strategy, lighten all the rotating mass as much as I can because I'm running a 289 with iron heads for now. So I'll try that. I'll follow up with something on clutch to show you whether or not the 10-inch will work. I think Summit only had one option for an 11-inch clutch, which I should mention. The 164s, from some research, whether this is true or not again, is that they're for trucks. They were used in the trucks, which would make sense. A heavy flywheel. Flywheels store energy with that extra mass. So having the bigger flywheel would give you a more torquey feeling off the line, like for pulling and towing and stuff and hauling. Good for around town, which I'm going to sacrifice for a light flywheel. But so there could be some truth in that. They're for trucks. And Summit only has, if I remember correctly, one option for an 11-inch clutch. We'll see what it is. I didn't even bother looking at it, but I will. 10.5-inch, more options, but got to make sure it'll bolt onto the flywheel. For whatever reason, they couldn't just make a standardized bolt pattern. You know, they had to do it in half-inch increments. So yeah, there are these little things you got to know. Just watch out, learn from my mistake. I guess lesson being, realistically, the auto parts store is kind of right. I mean, you'll see that weird misinformation, older guys going, oh, the catalog's wrong, I'm right. You know, they're probably not right. I think even my auto starter, I don't think I had going on, but it had shims in it. You know, I bought the motor and trans together running, and I knew it ran good, so I wanted it as is. I didn't want him to, you know, I changed carbs and that's it. You know, he kept his carb. I bought him a new distributor so he could keep that. I didn't want him screwing the timing up. So I don't think there's too much truth to the whole or the opposite starter. This is a little long-winded for the amount of information given, but it's something to know what's out there. And if you just bought parts and start ordering parts for a 65 Mustang, you know, you could run into trouble. And then you got these guys who are just selling crap together on Craigslist and don't know what's going on. And even a guy who did it for a living kind of screwed me over, but it's been 2 years. I can't really go back to him and, you know, what the hell. So just check numbers, check fit. I'll tell you, that surprised me. I had a 157 tooth flywheel with a 164 bell housing and couldn't start the car. So, alright guys, if I have to add something, I'll add it in, but I think we're good here. Just heads up on what you're buying, run the numbers. I gave you the bell numbers, and which size flywheel they go to. Supposedly there's a lot of 164 tooth iron bell housings out there. I think all the 157s are aluminum. I have an aluminum 164 tooth bell. So I don't want to say to assume you have a 164 if it's iron, but check the numbers. Alright, with that being said, have a good one, guys. I'll see you in the next one. We'll hopefully be doing a flywheel clutch and going through all that. And I'll tell you a couple things if you've never actually done a flywheel or a clutch before to kind of save some frustration from holding something big and heavy under a car like that. So, see you in the next one.